7 phrases that will strengthen any relationship. In this video, we will talk about those magic phrases that can qualitatively change your life for the better. So, what are these phrases and how will they affect relationships? We will discuss this in my video. And the first phrase is, tell me how you feel. Why is this phrase so important? This phrase immediately creates an open dialogue. It is very important for a person to understand that they matter, that they are wanted to be heard, and that there is interest in what is on their mind. Have you noticed, for example, when talking to a friend, that when something happens to you or you are worried about something and you mainly say you, by the end of the conversation, it seems to you that today's communication was wonderful. For example, today's dialogue was wonderful because they listened to you. And for a person, this is really very important. So an open dialogue creates a safe space when you can openly talk about your feelings with each other. Then the trust is born that strongly binds the couple and unites people. And this is the first advantage of open dialogue. Next, understanding deep motives. Sometimes we see what a person does and can evaluate the situation superficially. But when you ask what a person feels, then you can understand the deep motives and what drove, for example, a person in certain situations. Again, trust is created here and a greater understanding, a deep understanding of a person is born here. And openness, of course, in such relationships and trust becomes greater. And here, the strengthening of emotional connection. Where we can trust, where we can communicate openly, the emotional connection becomes stronger. People nearby can indeed be themselves. This safe space and strong emotional connection make people nearby happier, meaning they feel comfortable and good. They become, let's say, a home for each other where one can relax, recharge, and gain energy. Next, the next phrase, I appreciate you for. We often criticize our partner, but for some reason, in many situations, we remain silent about their virtues. Some believe that if, for example, they praise their man, then he will become proud and do nothing at all, or that what he does is taken for granted. But words of approval, words of praise, words where you express gratitude for what a person does for you, for the family, for the relationship are so pleasant. So when you talk about everything you appreciate in the man beside you, naturally his self-esteem rises because he feels that he is appreciated for what he does and that what he does is noticed. This feeling of being needed, of being important, of doing something right, for example, for the family, for the relationship, boosts his self-esteem. He likes to feel this way. Moreover, this strengthens feelings of love. When we are appreciated for what we do, and for example, when we understand that what we do is valuable, a feeling of even greater love is born. That is, a person understands that everything they do is not in vain, and they are appreciated for it, and they are grateful for the feelings directed towards them, which also stimulates positive actions. When you tell your man that you truly appreciate everything he does for you, he wants to do more for you. He understands that everything is extremely significant and valuable. And he understands that what he does is not in vain. It is noticed. What a man does for his family, for his partner, is important. And he definitely wants to do more because he sees gratitude and he sees that all of this is significant. Next, I like it when you, again, by not criticizing the person next to you for doing something wrong, but by noticing their strengths, you create a positive atmosphere in your relationship. That is, different people enter into relationships, each with their own beliefs about life, their understanding of happiness, and their own way of life. And when, for example, a woman tries to dictate all her terms, tells him how things should be, and endlessly criticizes the man for doing something wrong, naturally, there will be no positive atmosphere in such a relationship. When a woman can shift her focus from what the man is doing wrong to what he is doing right, then in such a couple, that very positive atmosphere is born. Plus, such a phrase stimulates the desire to do well, to do even better. That is, a man has, let's say, a drive, a spark to do even better, even more, if all of this is visible. And if all of this is valued, then a man understands that he is investing in the relationship correctly. That is, what he does is not devalued. What he does is important. What he does is needed. And the relationships become more transparent and open. When you can talk, when you can speak about each other's strengths, when you can be grateful, when you can say what you appreciate about your man, then at certain moments, when you talk about what went wrong in your relationship, it will be perceived appropriately, and the relationships become open and trusting. That is, A man understands that he is not being attacked in the relationship. He does not need to defend or protect himself. He understands that there are different situations, and he understands that he is appreciated. Thus, relationships where understanding and trust exist become more open and clear for both people and mutual respect. Next, I want to support you. And this is a very important phrase. When we feel bad and when something happens, a person feels that he is left alone with himself, that he can only rely on himself, that everything is bad, that it is hard for him. And at that moment, he hears from his woman that she wants to support him in that moment. He feels, that is, he develops that very sense of safety. Perhaps this woman will support him only emotionally, but he already understands that he is not alone, that he can rely on someone. Even emotional support is very important, and the feeling that you are not alone in this world is also very important. And here, the emotional bond is strengthened. People's relationships become more solid. Plus, there is a reduction in stress. When a man understands that he has a reliable support system, it is easier for him to handle certain situations and cope with difficulties because he knows he has support. Next, let's find a solution together. And this is another very important phrase. Why? Because when, for example, in a relationship, someone pulls the blanket towards themselves, then there is always a winner and a loser. Here, there can only be competition in the relationship, snapping each other on the nose, showing who is better, and such relationships, of course, fall apart. When you seek compromises, trying to find a solution that suits both, then you become a team. People who go together towards something, somewhere, but together, because there are no losers and no winners. There are solutions that satisfy both, and this incredibly strengthens the relationship. Additionally, more trust is born here. That is, in relationships where, for example, a man understands that he is not being competed with, that he is not being blamed for everything, and that solutions are found to satisfy both. A man understands that he can trust the person next to him, he can be open, and that with such a woman, he can build strong, happy relationships. And this also includes the search for an optimal solution. When you consult, when you think about something, brainstorm, and work as a team, you often find solutions that are much better than those that would be made alone. So don't be afraid to say such a phrase as "I'm sorry." And this is also an important phrase. In fact, only very strong people can apologize. A weak person will never admit their mistakes. Therefore, learn to be strong. And in fact, the ability to acknowledge your mistakes makes you better in the eyes of the person next to you. He understands that there is a strong personality next to him who sees when she is wrong at times and can admit it. And here again, there is a release of tension in the couple, meaning the stress level decreases. All these jokes about how if a woman is wrong, one needs to apologize in front of her. This is, of course, all fun and at some point works in some couples, but not for the long term. A man is also a human and he sees the situation differently than a woman. So if a woman constantly insists that she is right and the man should apologize, there is no trust in such relationships. A man feels like a loser and he understands that here, say, it is not a relationship but a one-sided game. Here, respect and strengthening of the bond are born. That is, when a man understands that a woman can admit her mistakes, he naturally treats her with more respect, and on top of that, the bond is strengthened. And here again, it's all about trust and a strong, solid, trusting connection between people. The last phrase, "I love you," and the ability to express feelings truly and remarkably strengthen relationships. And this phrase certainly uplifts. It says a lot. Here, the emotional bond is also strengthened, creating comfortable and deeply comfortable conditions for life. And a person who hears such a phrase strives to be better, to do something better. He understands that he is valuable and important. But don't be afraid to say such wonderful phrases that will qualitatively change your life for the better. That's all for this video. I was Alice Vardomska. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell, and goodbye everyone.